Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the EZFX Signal Trading Room broadcast for Wednesday, August 17th, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed. You'll be joining me for 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, for an update on our current trading week. We're going to update our watch list. We're going to go through every currency pair on this list, and we're going to also add any new trades that we'd like to get into that look promising. And also answer any questions that you might have. If you have questions, we have a chat room on this page. If you're attending live, please go ahead and post your question during the broadcast, and I will answer every question using charts, whatever we can do to help make things clear at the end of the broadcast. If you're watching the recording, please go ahead and post to the Trading Room group. You can also send me a private message. My handle on the community is EZFX. Just go to the community menu and you can find me under members. Or you can send me a good old-fashioned email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and review our watch list from yesterday. We were watching the pound yen buy, euro pound sell, pound Aussie buy, pound Swiss buy, dollar peso buy, and pound CAD buy. On our new or open trading list, the pound dollar buy was new, the pound Newsy buy was new, the Aussie dollar buy was new. The Swiss yen buy was open, as was the Euro Aussie buy, Aussie Swiss buy, New Zealand yen buy, and CAD yen buy. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll jump over to the charts and we'll update this list. Let's go ahead and start with the pound yen. Now this pair has done everything we need for an entry. We have a buy bubble. We have a triangular moving average color change. We've had a break out above this triangular moving average here. We do have a sell bubble forming. And remember that we haven't really yet proven that the trend isn't still intact on this pair, the downtrend. I'm going to mark this bubble real quick. So this may retrace a bit, but we kind of need it to retrace if we're going to get in this trade. Because at this point, if we were to buy this and even set the stop just below this recent low, we would need a 200 pip stop, which I like. I have 150 pips as sort of my threshold for setting trades. I don't like to set a stop larger than that. The practical reason is that when you're sizing a trade, especially let's say you're trading a $5,000, $10,000 account, you start to be forced to trade 1 micro lot or 2 micro lots. And sometimes the required stop is so large that as long as you're sizing your trades, that you're not able to take a trade. There's no lot size that allows you to get into a trade because the stop is simply too large. So that's one reason. And the other reason is I think if you get over 150 pips of the system, I think you're chasing price. And I think you're wise to just wait for a retracement. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it forces you to be patient, to wait for a reasonable stop loss to become available before you get into the trade. We never want to chase price. That's an emotional quagmire that we don't want to get into. So this trade is still setting up. It's done everything we need to do to get in, but now we finally what we need is we need the stop loss that's 150 pips or below. So hopefully this will retrace down a bit and we'll be able to get into the trade and still feel confident about it. Hopefully everything will still be intact when we do that. So moving on, euro pound sell. This I actually sent a signal on. We're actually in this trade. It gave us a sell bubble, a class A supply zone, a trend line break, and a triangular moving average color change. We got in down here. It's currently a little bit underwater. It retraced a bit up to this line here. These pound trades, the pound has been trending hard against the pound with pound weakness for a long time. This is the first time in several weeks that we've gotten a profitable or a good entry signal, and it's gone quite a distance before it's given it to us. If we go up on the time frame, you can see where we are in this pair. We've actually reached these highs back here that were achieved back in 2013. You can scroll back further, but really that's where we're going to start to hit headwinds. People see this and they say, okay, now this is maybe getting to the point where it needs to give back a little bit. It may not be overdone. It may retrace a bit and then continue, but this is a point where there would be probable supply of orders and an imbalance in supply and demand that might drive price down for a retracement, which could, I think, get us to our 2 profit targets on this trade, which are the 50% retracement level on the Fibonacci retracement of this latest trend section here. And finally, the monthly pivot for August, 0.8435. So this trade is currently open. And I sent it out as a signal. Next, we have a pound Aussie buy. And remember, we were kind of on the fence about about this trade, or no, I don't think this was the one, but this finally did set up a Class A zone, a buy bubble, triangular moving average color change, and a breakout here. Once again, the problem is the size of the required stop loss. So even at that initial breakout, when we got confirmation, it was over 200 pips would have been required for the stop loss according to the rules by which we set our stop losses. So I did not get into this, and it's broken out, pretty far. It's already gone as far as 188 pips. So this was one we just couldn't get into given our constraints. But I'll leave it on the watch list. It may retrace. It may give us an opportunity in the near future to get into it. Next, let's look at the pound Swiss buy. This is one we were able to get into. This had a reasonable stop loss once the breakout happened. We were able to get in for a stop loss of about 108, which is below 150, so that's within my constraints. Initial profit target at the 50% retracement level here for 170. Final profit target at the monthly pivot, 300 pips. So this ticked all the boxes. We had a buy bubble. We haven't I was going to say we had the beginnings of a color change in the triangular moving average. It's kind of dissipated, but given all the other movement on all the pound pairs, that I think that's sort of like proxy confirmation. I think it's fine. And now we're getting some consolidation around that entry point. A Class A zone down here, trend line break. So it had at least 3 points of confirmation. We're just, the final third would be a trailing indicator at this point. But you can still get in this trade. You still have a good entry point. You actually have a slightly better entry point than we had when we sent out the signal. You only need 92 pips of stop, and you have a real nice, you have almost 2-to-1. Probably, actually, you do have 2-to-1 on the initial profit target, and over 3-to-1 on the final profit target. So this also is open, and I did send it as a signal trade. And I really do try to send at least 3 a week. I hope you realize that. But they have to be good trades. They have to tick all the boxes. They have to be, and they're always trades that I take. If I take a trade, I send a signal. If I make a change in a trade, I send a signal, and that's generally produced the best results for me as well as for our subscribers. All right, dollar peso buy. This is another one we had our eye on, if you remember. Also from the analysis report for this week. This also broke out. We have this turned into a buy bubble here, right there. Class A demand zone, trend line break, buy bubble. We haven't had the triangular moving average change color yet. The problem again, though, with this trade is simply the size. I mean, even when we had this initial break and close above the trend line, it was 184 pip stop over 150. So in some cases I might go 160. I might let it go a little bit, but beyond that, it's just kind of diminishing returns, in my opinion. If we do get a retracement down, that's an entry, especially if we get a retracement down and the triangular moving averages change color. I'd be very interested in taking a buy on this trade, but we're not there yet. So I'm going to leave it in our list. You know, it may have gotten started and it may never come back, but often these things do retrace down and they give us additional entry opportunities. So don't lose hope. Just keep watching and be ready. That's the best thing to do. And we've got plenty of other things that have set up that we're in that can potentially deliver profit. Let's look at the pound CAD buy next. I do like this trade. It's close to having a reasonable stop loss. It broke out, made a high. It's retraced a little bit with the other pound pairs. It may go from here and just break out higher. It has set up almost a sell bubble, which may cause a retracement. Currently, if you got into this, you would need 170 pips of profit. That's too much for me. You know, recently it was as low as here, and then it would have only needed 142. So if it just retraces one more candle down, you could go ahead and add this to your trade portfolio and get in at a reasonable stop loss. For this, like the other pairs, I like the monthly pivot as a target, 1.7139, and the final profit target at the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level of this downward trend move. So this nice clean trend here. We'll see if we can pick up some profit on a retracement in this trade space. So that that I am still watching. I would actually go ahead and make this new though. Let's go ahead and move it down because it's almost there. If it retraced a little bit and gave us a stop, I think it's a good trade to be in. I do like that trade. Let's call it new. Same with the euro pound and the Swiss. Okay, so that's our watching list. And now we're into our new and open trades list. Let's look at the pound dollar buy. That was a new trade we looked at yesterday. Remember, we were waiting for just one more point of confirmation on this trade when we talked yesterday. It finally gave it to us. You know, we have a nice buy bubble here. Go ahead and mark that. Buy a bubble. Another divergence line, reconfirming this is a class A demand zone. Stop below the recent lows there. And a trend line break. On the close of this candle, this only needed 102 pips to get into, so it was very reasonable. I don't know that the triangular moving average really changed color at that point. I don't think it had. Currently, it's retraced a bit. You can get in for 147 pips of stop. So this is currently a bargain, and you can still get in this. I haven't sent a signal on this. I already have a couple pound pairs out of signals. We'll see where I am with my own portfolio and if I want to send signals on that. But that is definitely available to you within our parameters. Targets for this would be, we're looking at this recent retracement of this downtrend here. So if you got in here at, well, now it's up above 150, but you could do a monthly pivot for your initial profit target and final target at the 78.6 retracement level at 252. That'd be completely acceptable. If you want to really stretch, you can set your profit target at the bottom of this supply zone here. And we'd just be trading for a complete retracement to the top of this trade space. Pound newsy buy, that's the next one. This trade also broke out. This is one we had been looking at for a while. It finally did break this second trend line that I'd drawn. It had already broken the first one, but it looked like it might hit where we had a stop. And in fact, I think it did. It moved lower and then finally set up divergence and then broke out. So it finally gave us confirmation. At this point in time, if you'd gotten into it, you would have, though, needed 223 pips for the stop. So that's just too far. And currently, we don't have an entry or setup on this just based on that stop loss constraint, but it is a valid setup. So you could, if you were going to trade this and you didn't mind the stop size, and you could still get a decent position size, say 265 pips of stop, trade to the monthly pivot as your first target for 386, final profit target at the bottom of this supply zone for 654. Pretty aggressive trade, a pretty big trade, but exciting targets and good risk reward ratio available to you. Because it's so far away, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the watching list. Let's move it up there. Next, we have Aussie dollar buy. And you can make a case, I'll say one more thing about this. You can make a case that I could have gotten in earlier on this, that it was starting to do things that looked like it might set up a trade. The only thing is we got stopped out on these just last week, really, break even. And so, and in some cases, like the pound Aussie, we took a loss. So I'm being extra careful about the confirmation on these next entries because this pair has been trending strong. It's a strong fundamental trend. I don't want to lose money unnecessarily. So I'd rather have a trade that I can't get into and just have to set it aside and have a few that I can get into than get in a bunch of them and say, take a 5% loss on my account because I was over aggressive and got in too soon on trades that weren't ready to be taken yet. Just my way of thinking. I try to be conservative about these things. Aussie dollar buy, that's our next setup. If I can find the pair on my list. There it is. Okay, so once again, we were looking for a breakout above this supply zone. It didn't happen. In fact, price reversed and dropped when it hit the supply zone. So there's still a pretty healthy imbalance of supply and demand here. And it caused this pair to drop and create a new low. So this pair is currently ranging. The supply zone is resistance. And I don't currently have a setup for this, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off the list. And we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to put a question mark because I don't even know direction at this point. It's just not doing anything concrete. It's not trending. It's not telling me that I'm going this way really hard, and so next time I'm probably going to go that way. It's just ranging. So we'll keep it on the list. It's a pair we like to trade when we can. And we'll see if we can get another opportunity on that pair. Swiss yen buy, that's the next one. That's an open trade. Still open, moved higher, actually made a higher high. So this has recovered pretty nicely from almost stopping out. The triangular moving average is blue again. We're still trying to get to the initial profit target up here at the monthly pivot, 105.50943. I would just hold on to this. You know, we're probably ranging a bit, but we did break and made a higher high here, even though this left a wick. And we have a sell bubble here. But if it continues to break higher, we make higher highs, we may finally get to this initial profit target, and we can enjoy some profit, move the stop to break even, and then try for profit extension targets above that. So I'm just going to leave this open at this point. And you know, it's tempting, like we had a dollar yen and a euro yen stop out earlier in the week. It's tempting just to think you have to get out of all your yen trades, but each trade is different, even though it's in the same, has the same base currency pair, or the same base currency. And so I just don't do that. I treat them individually. Maybe two get stopped out, maybe one lives, and then that one makes it to turn around and then go to profit, and that makes up for any losses that I sustain on the others. Plus, it gives me some additional profit to add to my equity. So treat them all as individual, and don't panic and think you have to get out of the entire set just because two of them have gotten into trouble and stopped out. Euro Aussie buy, that's an open trade, or was an open trade, is an open trade. These have done surprisingly well, and I just followed the signal, and I wasn't really sure about these trades, but lo and behold, we hit the first profit target. I sent a signal out about an hour ago telling you to move the stop to break even. And now we're seeing some Class B divergence, but I think we're going to hit this final hard profit target at the 78.6% retracement level with no problem, 1.47985. This has moved so hard, so fast. I'm wanting to say that you have an option to trend follow on this. And when you trend follow, what you do is don't have a hard profit target, don't have a pending order sitting up there to close out the order. Stay in this until you get an opposite direction Class A supply zone, or this triangular moving average changes color. Now you are taking a risk. It could change color now and it could reverse. Then you might have to get out down here, and you would have ended up with less profit on the second half of the trade than you do. But because it's moving so far, so fast, and so hard, and if we look at like the 4-hour chart, we can see we have the July monthly pivot up here. We have this supply zone up here. We have this huge drop that we can retrace on. And we also have this just as high up here at this 100% retracement level. There's lots of places this could go before it's going to turn around and reverse on us. So I think it's worth holding on to in this case and seeing how much further we can get beyond this initial profit target. And you want to hold on to your winners. You want to cut off your losers, which we do with a hard stop or a loss cut with our hard stop or loss cut rules. But when you have a winner, when you have a winning trade, and it looks like it's going to go further because it just has so much momentum behind it, you can try to ride it farther. And that's going to, if you're patient with those, that can give you a huge amount of your annual profit when you total everything up at the end of the year. So this is almost there. And this was also a signal trade. Aussie Swiss, this is sort of the flip side. This is dropped nicely. We're having Class B divergence appear. We hit the first profit target, move the stop to break even. We're going for the second. This one similarly has an option to trend follow, I believe. We have the July monthly pivot down here. We have this low that was made before it reversed and made a Class A zone here and dropped. A lot of momentum behind this. Let's just see how far it goes. And of course, you also have the option just set a pending order at the fixed profit target and take profit when it hits. That's perfectly acceptable. We have good risk to reward ratio on that. It's a very good profit. But when I can, when it looks good, I do like to try to trend follow. Okay, so next we have Euro Aussie and Aussie Swiss are both open still. Stops at break even. Finally, New Zealand yen open and CAD yen open. The CAD yen is still moving sideways. It's recovered a bit off the lows here. Still hasn't moved towards our monthly pivot really, but it's consolidating. So if it breaks out to the high side, it could easily get there. I'm holding on to this trade. I think it's in a good place right now. I'm not too worried about it. Let's look at the CAD yen, or that's the CAD yen. Let's look at the New Zealand yen. This is our other open trade. This recovered and then it's dropped a bit again. This demand zone down here is still support. I'd be looking, if this is ranging or consolidating, I'd be looking for this to rise again and see if we can get some momentum towards our initial profit target. This is currently a bit in the red. So not a lot of direction on these pairs, but we do seem to have a solid floor, at least at this point in time, beneath it. If you look at the other yen pairs, like the dollar yen, it also recovered quite a bit once it broke through 100. It's back up to above 100.5, and it's retraced down a bit after that. So there's not a full reversal on this, but there was a reaction to going below 100, and it recovered quite a bit. A lot of buyers at that price. But we still haven't seen momentum driving it towards 103 or the monthly pivot up here. I'm hoping that'll come. If not this week, then next week. I'm hoping that our other yen pairs that are still open will survive until then and be driven higher by that kind of action. So that's all the updates. I really don't have any additional trades to share with you today, but we did have some trade management steps in terms of moving stops to break even on the Euro Aussie and the Aussie Swiss. And we did open some new trades, the Pound Swiss and the Euro Pound, which are looking interesting at this point in time. They've retraced a little bit. Like I said, these are a little bit underwater, but I don't dislike these at all. And I think they have the potential to go a lot higher and give us some profit. And also the Pound CAD, this is a potential additional trade you could get in if we can get the stop loss that we need to satisfy our requirements. Let me just check the chat room, make sure we don't have anybody attending live. You might have a question. We don't this morning. I encourage you, if you can, to join live. Of course, you can always watch the recording, but if you do watch the recording, please ask some questions. Send me an email, send me a private message, post to the trading room group, and be involved, and then we can have a conversation about these trades, about your trading. I'm sure you have questions about what we're doing, and I am here as a resource for you to help answer those questions, to help make things clear, and to help you to be able to use these trading ideas and this trading methodology effectively. Thanks for attending the trading room for Wednesday, August 17th. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the live trading room, and I'll look forward to you watching or attending. Take care, and I'll see you soon.